All right, what's up, good people? We want to thank you for coming into the Truckers Lounge with your guys, Priest and Gene. We got a little lineup today. A few things that we're going to be discussing in our commentary today. We got Illinois putting Trump off of the ballot. We got uh, truckers. I guess it's an updated story that the truckers boycott in New York supposedly maybe going into full effect. We don't know. Um, we got Mitch McConnell stepping down. Now we probably looking at some issues with our fuel prices now because of what's going on overseas, and we also got politicians wanting to put polio vaccine in our produce. So we got a lineup today. Gene, how you doing, bro?
Doing well, man. How you doing tonight?
Man, I'm good, man. Just trying to get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to get it right. I'm gonna try to set a little vibe here, man, going and everything. But before we set the vibe, we want to start off the story with my guy. Like I said, I'm not a Republican, but my guy Trump. We're gonna start off the story with what's going on with him in Illinois. Most of us by now we already know what's going on with him in New York, with him being sued for greater than $500 million. So he got other issues going on. So he's getting the business right now. But we're gonna start off with this news clipping from a local news station, WQAD News 8. They reported on this story. So here's a little clipping to bring you into full context on what's going on in Illinois with Trump now.
Barring former President Donald Trump from the state's primary ballot next month. Overnight, a Cook County judge ruling that Trump violated the 14th Amendment's insurrection clause due to his actions during the January 6th Capitol attack. It's not a done deal, though. This decision doesn't actually take effect until tomorrow. So this is essentially letting the public know in advance what the decision will be. The judge is expecting appeals. A spokesperson of former President Trump is calling this decision, quote, unconstitutional. The ruling overturns last month's decision by the Illinois Board of Elections that Trump could remain on the ballot. This ruling is the latest in a string of decisions around the country concerning Trump's ballot eligibility. Right now, the U.S. Supreme Court is hearing a case after the Colorado Supreme Court kicked Trump off its state primary ballot. It's unknown yet if that upcoming decision will have any effects on the ruling here in Illinois.
All right, there you have it. So the surprising thing for me is how rapid this thing is going on. It's like one after another. If well, I know as far as the state ban, it started with Colorado, then the state of Maine got involved in it as well. So now we got Illinois in it. So Gene, what are the details you got on this situation here?
Well, they're using that Illinois judge, which is the Circuit Court County Judge Tracy Porter. They're using the 14th Amendment, that basically says it will ban officials from serving if they've engaged in any insurrection, which is what they claim that Trump was a part of January the 6th. Now, Tracy Porter ordered the Illinois Board of Elections to remove Trump's name from the ballot, but put the order on hold just in case of an appeal. Now, his attorneys were able to file that appeal, and in that appeal, it basically says that they're pretty much going to retain the order of stay of the Judge Porter, and it says, I quote, until the appeal is fully resolved by the Illinois Appellate Court, First District, the Illinois Supreme Court, and or the U.S. Supreme Court. So basically, you can go through all those different courts till they reach a decision. That's my understanding, is that it can go through those courts. It go through one court. If the appeal fails, then they go through another court, all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court that they can fight it.
Well, this sounds like, I mean, if that's the case, this would be music to someone's like Donald Trump's ear, because the election is going to be in November. If he wins the election, they're not going to be able to touch him. And really right now with what's going on with the Democratic Party, you got so many of their core base seem to be turning on them. Now, a lot of people, which is understandable, they don't want to hold their nose and vote for Trump. And don't get me wrong, I get it. I don't criticize anybody for not voting for him because I didn't vote for him the last time. But my opinion is a lot different now with everything that has been going on since the pandemic. And right now, you know, we're dealing with too much post-pandemic anxiety to be sitting here looking at this nonsense swirling around in the news. And the reason why I call it nonsense is because when he was in office, he did a lot of shit that he should have probably been out of office for what they were accusing him of, if that's what he was guilty of. No action was really taken. Just a lot of political talk. I mean, it was good entertainment if you was glued to the news like I was, but it was just political talk. I mean, you had politicians in the past did things. I mean, you know, I think they handled Bill Clinton kind of rough when they impeached him for, getting fellatio. I think they let George W. Bush get away with lying about nuclear weapons being in what was that, Iraq
and Afghanistan, basically,
right, just to kick a war off, and which that caused hundreds of thousands of Americans their lives, as well as the unfortunately the victims that went down in the fall of the towers in New York. So I mean, it's nonsense because, number one, the Democratic Party, I haven't seen anybody that they had that was appealing other than Joe Biden. That's all I see who they seem to be giving a push to. Then a lot of these guys are old. So we're going to have an old guy. I feel like you might as well have Trump at least try to get the economy back on track for some of the Americans who are financially suffering, paying high rent or whatever. I really feel like Donald Trump will come in and rectify those issues. Joe Biden is a corporate politician. I don't feel like he's for the people, truth be told, just by some of the moves that he's making. I mean, it just looks silly to me. I mean, it's bigger things they could be worried about than to be trying to get the man put off the ballot. I mean, it's looking more and more like dictatorship than democracy. I mean, I haven't never seen this before where they put a candidate off the ballot. And if it happened in the past, which I'm sure it has, it wasn't in the media this way for the Americans to see in this way.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. And I think that's one of the things that they should just let the people decide. You know, instead of just taking his name off the ballot altogether, they should just let the people decide on who they choose and who they choose to vote for.
Exactly. And then I want to say this here too, for the average American, if I'm talking to the ones who doesn't have a political seat, don't get caught up in the choosing the sides of the political aisle. And there's no need in some of you saying, no, I'm not like that. Okay, we'll compare this to a basketball game. I've been around so many people that'll take a win any kind of way that they get it. And let's just be honest. Even when Trump was in office, he wasn't perfect. I mean, hell, if you ask me, none of them are.
Yeah.
So let's be truthful in our judgment on this. Does he deserve what he's going through? Yes. Is it necessary in these times? Hell no. You don't have anything appealing to be in leadership to get the country back on track, because you keep putting these corporate politicians into play, and it just seems like most of their policies that's directly affecting us immediately is in the favor of the people with the money. You know? Yeah. So that's just the way I look at it. I just really feel like it's a waste of time. So that's why you got now the truckers, our fellow brothers it was a news update. About yesterday? It was yesterday. I think it was reported. It wasn't many news sources. It was a local news source in New York had reported like an update about the truckers boycott, which I'm pretty sure they're probably just going off of the last story that we've reported. I just saw one new guy speaking up on it, but I can't even see that happening. Now, this is what I see happening.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a truck driver that live in New York and a trucker boycott happens, it's going to be some New York truck drivers making some pretty good damn rates. That's that's what I see happening. I don't see a unity forming amongst truckers to boycott New York for the sake of what they're doing to Trump. Hell, you won't even boycott these horrible rates out here. You won't even boycott these fuel prices. You won't even boycott these long waits that you have at the shippers and receivers that's costing us money because our time is money when we're in the transportation industry. So let's not, play this political game, drivers, of this boycott New York, because just as well as I know that it's not going to happen. Anytime you have a pandemic and the average rate go up towards $6 to $8 a mile, and then drastically take a drop within a year and a half back down to $1.75 on average for certain modes of transportation. I mean, just stop it. You ain't gonna do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Just stop it.
Yeah, because everyone calls for a strike. Everybody's pretty much go-to is, hey, let's strike. But no one really comes up with the right type of organization. They don't know how to organize it per se on how to strike. I think one time they did a rolling, what do you call it, a slow roll in DC. Slow down the traffic and stuff. And he said a lot of truckers was going to be doing that. And a 1-day strike or 2-day strike, I don't know how much that's going to change, because not everyone is going to be able to afford. They might be able to do 1 or 2 days, but that's not going to really drastically affect the country and make some changes that you're looking to see. If you're able to do a 1-month boycott and shut your trucks down, then you might be able to see something. But not everyone can afford to do that.
Well, you got to watch pockets. And what I mean by that is, when you got these bigger companies out here, like the mega carriers, like your JB Hunt, your Swift, your mega shipping facilities, or manufacturers like your General Mills, your Kellogg's, your Home Depot. The owners of those companies are just who they are, but they pretty much ran by their investors, which are called shareholders. Mm-hmm. So unless you plan on playing that game, it to me, it's going to take a month, because see, here's the thing. The more you run, the more money you put into the shareholders' pockets. The more money you put into the shareholders' pockets, the more power you give them to come up with another plan to counter your attack.
Yeah.
You see, right now, they're pushing heavily automated trucks, wanting them to be rolling unmanned by the end of this year in certain areas. Nobody in the trucking community is paying attention to that. Everybody just focused on getting the bag. You're not even realizing that your bag finna have a leak in it.
Yeah, a big long cut.
Right. So like when you talk about strike, we're talking about months of preparation of stocking your deep freezer full of food, getting all your bills paid up ahead of time, and on top of that, being able to put money to the side. Then you shut this motherfucker down for about 6 months. Even if they come to the table, you still make them wait. You make them agree, and you make them wait. That's the game that you got to play with billionaires. They don't hear you. They don't hear a slow roll 1 day of holding up traffic. They don't hear that. Is it a problem? Yeah, it's a problem. Does it affect billionaires' bottom line? Hell no. It does not affect their bottom line. If you want to play that game with billionaires, you got to get ready to go to the max with it because they got too much money to play with it and outweigh us on these slow roll, these 1 day strike going up to Washington, lining up, honking your horn and all that shit. They got too much money to play with. They're not gonna hear you. So you got to get ready to be balls to the wall with it. Just imagine yourself coming down Fassett Gap and getting in that hammer lane. That's how you got to be with this shit.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, don't waste your time upping them rates for them guys in New York only for them to get on social media, talk about how much money, you know, they done made. Because if you do that, you're going to have more of these guys with these goddamn master classes talking about how good the rates are when the rates ain't went no damn where. They just hide New York because y'all done went and did a strike.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then you have everybody trying to get into the New York and Northeast area to take those runs from the guys who live there.
Right. Exactly. You know, so I mean, let's get it right. I mean, if anything, come together. Let's get under one umbrella and learn and understand the technical business side of the industry. Because when you learn that, then we could operate the same way shareholders do when we're negotiating our rates. You know, the market, this bull crap market they claim that set the rates. Those rates are set by the people in power, the people that has the money, the shareholders. Do you not realize these shareholders, a lot of the same names that are shareholders under JB Hunt and Swift are on the board with General Mills, which is a manufacturing company, on the board with some of these. What's another big shipping company name? What, Walmart? You can consider Walmart a shipping and what you call it, a seller of product to the consumers.
Right.
They got big shareholders. All these shareholders, because there's only so many of them, you know, all of them sits on the board of a big transportation company, a big manufacturing company, a big shipping company, a big freight forwarding company, and the biggest a brokerage company.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that sound like monopoly to you guys? So like I said, man, you know, until y'all ready to move like that under one umbrella, ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. They're gonna slide these automated trucks right up under us, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be until we move. And I suggest we move quickly.
Right. That's true. That's so true. Because, you know, they already done started with the fully automated yard trucks at some warehouses across the country. Different warehouses across the country. I think one of the most recent ones is at a Nestle warehouse in Arkansas. They bought I think this was
that's an electric truck.
An electric one.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an electric truck. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, but over in Texas, they have a warehouse that's fully autonomous when it comes to the yard trucks.
Right. A company, a technology company that make the robotic, what automated trucks. It's called ISSE. It's a company from overseas somewhere, and they got their yard fully automated.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, if you want to stand for Trump, just vote for him anyway. I mean, if you're in New York, I mean, people in not New York, I'm sorry, in the states that they're banning Trump off of the ballot, Illinois, Maine, Colorado, the only people have to speak up is Trump supporters, because now they want to vote for a particular candidate and you're taking them off the ballot, and now you're depriving, I don't care what the law says, you're depriving citizens of their American right to vote for whoever they want to vote for to put in office.
Right.
So the people over there can start screaming. I just get sick of the news and all this shit. They try to make it like it's so difficult to make it happen. Yeah, it's difficult in the sense of when you're trying to get people to come together and speak in one loud voice, but it's not geometry.
Right.
It just take a little sacrifice. That's all.
Yeah, but this how stuff get when we in politics. I mean, they slinging all kinds of mud. They'll go back to a candidate's any type of candidate. They'll go back into a candidate's high school or college time and pick up what they did. If they were a bully in college or a bully in high school, they're gonna go and address that and pull that out. And that's the part about politics I've never really cared for, how they go so far back. And they just sling mud, and as if that candidate is still the same person today.
Well, actually, like me. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I thought you was finished.
No, I'm done. Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, actually, like me, I feel a little different about that. I'm cool with that in the spirit of politics. If you want to play the game, like you did this here, you ain't no good. You slept with this many women. If you want to play that kind of game, but when you start getting into messing up people's marriages, like just like maliciously tearing down somebody's reputation, this situation they got going on with Trump, now they trying to use the law for personal matters. You can't tell me that it's not personal. I was glued to the TV when this guy was in office because he was so entertaining. So I saw everything on the news, all the connection, all the links, the dossier, Julia Assange and WikiLeaks, the situation with Facebook and Facebook being infiltrated by Russia and China, taking over the information to steer toward Trump. I watched all of that, and so you can't tell me he didn't step on toes, and this is the result of him stepping on toes when he was in office. This ain't about what he did illegal. This is more personal. And then they're sending people out that look like new people to basically like dogs, sicken them on them, like those DAs in New York. Fannie Willis down there in Georgia, they got her tied up in some stuff now that I'm pretty sure that was brought up with her affair with this guy that's got her on trial to be disqualified from this case. So it's just a lot of personal malicious mudslinging, career-ending type tactics that they're using, and I think that's unfortunate, for this country to be in that kind of turmoil where we got leadership doing this kind of stuff. But again, like I say, as Americans, it's our fault because we forget they work for us. Even Trump, if we vote him in office, he works for us. If he win the election and you didn't vote him in office, he works for you.
That's true.
I like what Killer Mike said on The View. He said, I don't want to get caught up into the soap opera. They was asking him, when you're going to endorse Biden. He said, I'm going to focus on our local elections in Atlanta. He said, that's what I'm more focused on. He said, what's going on right now? He said, I don't want to get caught up in the politic drama of all this. He said, like, I think he said his grandma or his granddad told me, he said, one thing my grandma or my granddad told me, stay out of white folks' business, sit back and see what happens.
Right.
But to me, that was like his way of saying, I'm not endorsing no Biden. Biden really hasn't did a whole lot. They went through this list about all the money he gave to HBCUs and, blah, 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 and all that. Yeah, that's cool. But what about all the other stuff that he's doing that's directly affecting people? When Trump had the stimulus checks going around, a lot of people depending on that.
Yeah.
And he did it, and he kept it going for a year after he got in office, and it was gone. Just like that. He came out with some old funk ass and prepaid card to give you, what was it, like $500 a month insurance, $200 a month, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was something similar to that.
Right. And we all know how high these doctor bills are when you don't have insurance. And okay, that's fine for the to give us prepaid cards to go to the doctor, but where our damn card at for the prescriptions? We need that card,
Right.
because I mean, like, I mean, it's like a horror movie to go to the doctor. They tell you that, okay, so this pay for your doctor visit, but the medicine that you need costs $700 for 20 pills.
Mm-hmm.
Then what? Now you done found out I got a problem and I don't have any money to fix it.
Yeah.
This is the time that people will put out of work because of post-pandemic. When a lot of businesses were closing down, people were and are still feeling the effects of that.
Right.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
That's true. And I know with Killer Mike, I remember watching some of that, his interview on The View, and I remember that's one of the things he was speaking on. One thing I did like about him in prior elections, he's always said, don't vote for someone who doesn't give you anything. You just giving your vote away. And I think he voted, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say he voted independent this last election. Yeah. Is that correct?
See, he was backing Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders didn't make it in.
Right. So I think he voted independent or so. And that's the thing. That's something that we've talked about, was don't just give your vote away because you're a Republican, you've always voted Republican, or you're a Democrat and you've always voted Democrat. Whoever the candidate is that's going to do the best for you and your family, that's who you vote for, in spite of your affiliation.
Right. Because I'm not going to speak for Gene, but I'm in my 40s, and I just recently learned a few years ago that, and this is how I view it, so don't judge me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't consider myself Democratic or Republican, and let me explain why. Because I feel like it's just like, this is how I look at it. Look at it like a fraternity. I can like the Q Dogs. I could like the Alpha. I could be a supporter of them. I could be at every event that they have. But I'm not a Q Dog, nor am I Alpha. I don't have the power to make any decisions that I may see them doing, or any events that they're having to change it. I'm not initiated member or voted in member. That's how I look at politics. I'm just a citizen who looking for, if we're going to have government, I'm just a citizen who wants the individual in there who's going to do what I want them to do. I know they can't do everything that I want them to do, but at least some of the important things that I'm looking for, that's what I want them to do. I'd be damned if I vote for a D or R just because my family voted a certain way. Mm-hmm. I'd be damned if I vote for a D or R just because I might like or feel like Trump is the best choice. Once, and I want to make this clear. If Trump gets my vote, it'll probably be a long time before another Republican gets my vote. Because truth be told, I don't see the Republican Party, that's some of them that's in office not doing too much of nothing.
Right.
But holding up progress. And I see the Democrats trying to give away money in all the wrong directions.
Yeah.
Which is going to lead us to our next topic once we get there. But but I wanted you to have a little, more input on this topic.
Well, I mean, I felt the same way because we've talked about it a few times. I've never said that I was a Republican or a Democrat, because I've always looked at the parties. I voted Democrat and Republican on different ballots. I know when I lived in California, and a lot of people might laugh at this and like, I can't believe you. But I voted for Arnold Schwarzenegger when he became the governor of California. I think I was like 18, 19 or so. And I first began, got the got my chance to vote in that election for the governor. I voted for Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I think he came in as a Republican, because I was interested in
He
some of the
did.
things. Okay, yeah, and I was interested in some of the things that he said that he was going to do for that economy in California. And so I voted Republican. I didn't affiliate myself with the Republicans or the Democrats. I just did that. And that's one thing I've always tried to look for: who's going to do the best for me with what I'm trying to do. And I think that's
Exactly.
how everyone should vote.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, but we're gonna move on to the next topic. In New York is, as a lot of us know, they have been having issues with the immigrants being bussed into New York City, and
Mhm.
it's a lot of benefits being given away. A lot of our fellow Americans in New York don't feel like it's fair. I don't think it's fair
Mhm.
in a lot of ways. I'm all for anybody coming to the country and want to better themselves and better the country. I'm all for that, but this here is something else. To me, it
Mhm.
just looks like something else. So I don't know what this is, but we're gonna play a little news clip in here from a local news station in New York City. Basically, talking about Mayor Adams, a lot of the weight is falling in on him. Eugene is going to have more information on what's going down with that. But we're going to bring this news clip in, then Gene is going to bring it into context for us.
Mhm.
Mayor Adams says giving asylum seekers debit cards to buy their own food will save the city millions. But the head of the city council's Oversight and Investigations Committee wants to know why the city issued a $53 million no-bid contract without seeing if it could get a better deal.
I think you should bid it out to see who would do the best job at the best cost for taxpayers.
Councilmember Gail Brewer says she wants to investigate a pilot program launched by Mayor Adams to give asylum seekers prepaid debit cards that will allow them to buy food, baby products, and other necessities at supermarkets, bodegas, groceries, and convenience stores. The $53 million contract reviewed by CBS 2 gives the firm Mobility Capital Finance lots of fees for services, including a $125,000 one-time setup fee, $250,000 in annual management fees, and fees based on how much money is distributed to migrants, $1.5 million for the first $50 million handed out, $2.5 million for the next $100 million. The pilot program will involve 500 families staying in short-term hotels like the Row and the Watson. According to the contract, the most a card can have is $10,000, but most cards will be refilled every 4 weeks. A family of 4 can get about $1,000, $35 a day, and they can buy whatever food they want to eat.
I don't know exactly how it's going to work. In other words, I do say from the release that it would be for diapers and baby products and food, but you have to be careful that that's what it's actually going to be for.
Now, on the face of it, I'm not for that. I mean, have you ever had somebody that owed you money and
Mhm.
you see them at the store, you buying your cigarettes or your food or whatever, or a loaf of bread or whatever, and they come in and they're getting like $100 in gas and they owe you.
Mhm.
That's what this looks like when you talk about everyday Americans in New York City living in the streets, homeless. I mean, just having a hard time. Rent is so high up there. I can only
Mhm.
imagine, the fluctuation of gas prices up there on top of that. So yeah, this is a slap in the face to Americans, and we need to stop this notion that just because that Americans don't like this, that they got something against the immigrants. We need to stop that bullshit notion. I mean, I think to me
Mhm.
that's a cop out to just keep from addressing the issue head on. But
Right.
one of the things that I'm curious about is that I see a lot of this weight is falling in on Mayor Adams.
Right.
He's a mayor in New York City. He's an African American, And I'm just curious to know, is this something that he doing on his own, or is this more like a federal law that puts him in a position that he has to accept these immigrants?
Now, I think that when it comes to that, when you look at all the immigrants that have been let into the country, they for some reason they let them into the major cities. You know, a lot of the major cities already have strained budgets and strained resources that they're trying to maintain for its own citizens. You know, and so a lot of the immigrants are brought into New York just like they were brought into Chicago. Now, Mayor Adams basically said that this was basically the solution to a problem, and this would help them save money because they were basically saying that it would help to curb the cost of expensive food distribution because a lot of food was going to waste. So I think at first they were just distributing food, but it was going to waste. And so they said, okay, why not? Let's just come up with a pilot program. We'll take 500 families, and this is what we'll do. We'll just hand them those cards and allow them to buy the food that they want and supplies for babies. I think it was like Pampers and baby wipes and stuff of that nature. And that's all they can use that money for. And they said this will pretty much save the taxpayers about $7 million a year.
Wait a minute. Talking about giving money away to the immigrants?
Giving it to the immigrants because they have to take care of the immigrants anyway. And so them doing it in that case would be cheaper because they said that would save them that amount of money. Now, the part about it now, all of it sounds pretty suspect to me. But
hold on a second. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? Just interrupt 1 second. So
Yeah,
let's do a comparison to something that we're familiar with. So my light bill, say for instance, normally $120, right? A month. Let's just say that. And you in the city or energy, which we have energy in the area that we're in, raises our light bill up to $300. So I have to go out and get pay thousands of dollars for a solar panel set up to save money. Is that the analogy that we can compare that to when they say that it's going to save the city money?
You could use that. Yeah, because the different, yeah.
So that's what we're doing now.
Now, because see the part about it that really, I mean, all of it is going to make the citizens and the taxpayers angry, but especially the fact that they're giving them $1,000 a month prepaid card. That's what those immigrants get. Like a family of 4 qualifies for a $1,000 a month prepaid card.
That same, I'm sorry because you just hit me with some. So
Okay.
that's so they couldn't have had that same savings if they took care of the Americans that's living on the street and giving them prepaid free, you know what I'm saying, room and board, you know, the prepaid cards. Doesn't it seem like they could have still saved the citizens in New York that same amount of money?
It would seem that
probably
way.
even more.
It would seem that now.
This is a
Mayor,
slap in the face.
it is. Now, Mayor Adams said that he's requested help or they've requested help from the White House, but they haven't had any in terms of dealing with that. Now, on the federal level, I don't know. That's the part that kind of confuses me, and I have to do a little bit more research on is why are these immigrants being dumped in New York City? Because they said over the past 2 years, over 173,000 immigrants have come into the city. Why is that? That's a lot of people, in 2 years. And shucks, that's probably, would you say that's probably more than the Great Migration that African Americans had 100 years ago? They moved from the South into New York City and moved up north and everything.
I don't know. Those are some statistics that we would have to look up to be sure. But I do know this, That's just New York we're talking about, right? We're not even
Right. That's
talking about
just
cities like Chicago.
right.
And yeah,
That
we're not even talking about them. I mean, and they are really Democrats are really in political trouble in Chicago.
yeah. Right.
Behind that, and
Mm,
apparently it must be some kind of fatigue behind it because CNN posted an article 2 days ago that Mayor Adam is calling for changes in the New York sanctuary policy because they having crime rate picking up there. That's that the immigrants are committing like home invasion and all that, and he want to change in policy and sanctuary in the sanctuary policy so he can send them out of New York. So that's what's got me kind of thinking that
his
he's
hands are
not
tied.
right, like his hands are tied, like he can't stop this train from rolling in.
Right.
And and I hate to say it like this, but by him being African American in a position like that, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the mayor in Chicago is black as well. To me, it looks like a political setup because when this first happened, they was crossing over into Texas, and Texas was like, okay, since y'all don't want to build a wall and y'all want them to come in, we're going to bust them over to some of these blue states.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how the busting had began, but I never really understood or really looked into what the sanctuary policy was all about. So
Okay.
apparently it looks like his hands are tied. So he's trying to find a way to get some of them out of there, and the way it looks, just by reading this article, it seemed like if he could have it his way, he'd get them all out of there.
Right.
But
You know,
apparently his hands is tied.
because you got to see, I mean, 170,000 extra people in 2 years.
And
That's a
more coming.
right. That's a strain on the city's budget, I would think.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Again, like I say, it just looks like dirty politics because if it's a sanctuary policy, and I don't know who passed it, but if it was a sanctuary policy that's got his hands tied, that looks like a political setup because right now his position is in jeopardy now. New Yorkers are not feeling what he's allowing to happen in their city. And I mean, it's just unfortunate. And if that's the situation.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate.
Well,
But yeah, I'm sorry. You said what?
nah, I'm gonna say I guess we'll see as everything begins to unfold and the story continues to develop. I'm sure we'll really be able to get down to the bottom of what's going on.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hold on. I'm trying to look up something now on the
Hmm.
sanctuary policy.
Okay.
Let
Yeah.
me see what's gonna pull up.
Yeah, I didn't even know they had a sanctuary policy in New York, but that makes sense because when you look at a lot of your immigrants from the country are in New York. You know,
Yeah,
New York is a melting pot of basically of different groups of people, ethnicities, and everything.
right. But see, we didn't know about the sanctuary policy. We knew they were calling themselves sanctuary cities.
Hmm.
Yeah, but we didn't know about the sanctuary policy. But yeah, this right here, what I found, I don't think it was. It says sanctuary city is a municipality that limits or denies its cooperation with national government in enforcing immigration laws. So yeah, that's a little deeper. We're gonna have to do more research and touch back on it on another show. But however, there are some immigrants that are very happy about it. So much to the point that it this next clip kind of came. Well, I ain't gonna say kind of. It did come off insulting. Let's see here. But anyway, we're gonna play this next clip now. This next clip here that I'm gonna play is a clip uh, of a story that Jesse Waters was covering about one of the immigrants went on TikTok, social media, whatever channel he went on, and he was bragging about the money that the United States is giving them. You know, he doesn't speak English, so they have a translator translating his words. So I just want to keep this in mind. I just got through talking about dirty politics. Now, one thing that we learned during the Trump era, CNN and Fox News didn't mind doing whatever they had to do to push their agenda. So I don't know if this guy is a plant by the Republican Party so that they can have a story to cover to veer more votes toward Trump, or if this real. But see, we're going to take it as if it's real because he actually posted it. We saw the video of him actually posted it showing his family. So but I just wanted to kind of give you that context. So if you hear somebody talking that doesn't sound like a foreign, it's translated, giving it. But here's the clip on that we're gonna bring up here with this immigrant here speaking about the benefits that he's getting.
Okay. From a Venezuelan migrant in the country illegally, bragging about ripping the country off. Listen to this.
You came to the United States to work, and I came to vacation. Look at the difference. She is the one that maintains me. That is why I don't work, because the government gives her what belongs to her, to my daughter, for being an American citizen. Capiche? I have no need to work because, well, guys, like few of you, this little princess, for being American, already receives a lot of money. Capiche? The trick is to have children in the United States. Here is the gold mine. The gold mine.
So we're suckers, and we don't want to speak up about it because we're afraid of being labeled haters?
Okay, now let me explain. Do that in your there what inside eye. I mean, he made a song on it. Okay,
passionate.
So right. So if you listen at the context, he wasn't talking to Americans. If you listen to the context, it started off where he said you. So he's actually beefing with somebody on social media, what it sounds like to me, and he kind of like rubbing it in their face, like, "Hey, we over here, hey, we getting the bag over here, and we ain't got to work for it,
Right.
But nevertheless, it's still insulting to me, to Eugene, to my mother, my father, and all my ancestors that worked to build this country, as well as yours. So even though he might not be talking directly at Americans, that's good information to have, to know what our government is doing with money. And then you got people out here, they're doing investigation in Americans, that they're doing investigation in on who got the PPP loans. They want you to pay back the SBA loans that you may have gotten for your business during the pandemic. And we're Americans who pay taxes here. I mean, I know I've been taxed heavily in my business, and you want to bring these people over here to give them benefits like that I'm paying for, just for them to brag on it like that. That's a slap in the face.
Right. And we don't qualify for it. I would like to receive $1,000 a month stipend,
right.
a prepaid card for my family. Help me pay my rent.
Exactly. But see, and that's the crazy part about it, is like, I'm assuming the $1,000 for the family afforded they're getting, that's just extra cash, but the room and board is already paid for, and I think they're giving them something else, like food stamp card for food. Okay. I'm thinking that's what's going on, because brother man right there, I mean, hey, if Ric Flair was a foreigner, that's what he would sound like.
That would be him.
That would be him. If Ric Flair was a foreigner, that's what he would sound like.
Woo!
Exactly. So yeah, that's an insult. Flat out insult, man.
Yeah, that is crazy. And I'm sure, because he was pretty much in that video, was telling all his Latino brothers and sisters, basically, hey, come on over. You know,
Yeah.
they telling you a lie that the border is closed. No, it's wide open. Come on.
Right. Right. And we have to think about it too. You know, what we hear on the news is just that, what we hear on the news. We're not on the grounds in these spaces to know what's really going on. So we have to rely on the media to report it to us. And now, if you see it like I see it, you can't really even trust the media right now to really tell you the whole truth about a lot of events that's happening in the world. Like they say that they're coming over here for a better life. Well, who's to say they wasn't living a pretty good life where they were?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a better life to come over here and own multiple businesses and have mini mansions or big mansions. Yeah, sure, that's a better life, but at what cost? It's at a cost to us.
Yeah. It
You
is.
know, right. You know, I don't have anything against foreigners, and I don't want anybody to think that, but right is right. You know, in some of our communities, we have foreigners. Some are good. Don't get me wrong. Some are good. You know, we got one in the area that we stay in. He owns a gas station. He's very involved with the city, giving back, you know, and I salute him for that. But you got some over here that just absolutely shit on the people in our community. They only Their only purpose is to come to our community, make money. They don't put anything back. That money goes right back out of our communities.
Right.
Some of them don't even bother to even fix their businesses up to make the community look better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now if you want to call that racist, you're crazy. That's not racist. I have the right not to approve or agree with anything, no matter what it looks like. It don't matter if you're a foreigner, don't matter if you're gay, don't matter if you're straight, don't matter if you're black, don't matter if you're white. I have the right to disagree without being, you know, someone saying that you're racist. Well, look, I'm black. I can't be racist, for one. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Not in that sense, not with the hard times our ancestors had here in this country, building this country, and we still don't get what we feel like that we should have. Mainly, number one of my concerns is the level of education our children receive in the public school systems. I think it's bullshit. Ever since George W. Bush passed that No Child Left Behind law, the school system, like they just been absolutely garbage in the public school system. Then, and I have to get facts on this, like black and white facts, but then you got the public school system donating supplies to the private schools.
For real? What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Where that happened? That's been going on?
That's been going on. You know, especially, you know, in the hometown that I'm from. They donate supplies like books and stuff, and you know, and to the private school.
Like they used supplies or something?
It don't matter. Why you donate anything to the private schools when they charging parents to have their children there?
Yeah. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, see, they do a lot of stuff under our nose that we don't know about because, see, we have people on, you know, sitting on the school board that's affiliated with these private schools. So any resources that come in that's left over, yeah, they help their buddies out.
Yeah.
That may be over the board of those private schools. Yeah, they do that because they have the power to distribute that money supposedly any way that they want, for whatever the grant may be for the school system or whatever. Private schools is a school system. Now, some people are going to disagree, say, oh, no, that's bullshit. No, it's not. No, that's not bullshit. You know, so it's just a lot of crazy stuff going on. It's not just about Biden. It's not just about Trump. It's not just about President Obama. That's just the political system that we have allowed to be going on forever.
Right.
You know, these people, just like some of these local politicians, they don't bring their asses around till they want to vote.
Yeah. Then you see them, a lot of them. Then you see them coming to your church.
Yeah, exactly.
In your suit and tie, you know,
Is
doing they clapping. The pastor let them sit up in the pulpit in a lot of the smaller churches and give them a
yeah,
few words to say, and go on from there.
yeah, and it just lets you know how lenient God is. You know that He didn't send a tornado through there. They sitting up in the church just for a vote.
Right.
Come on now. Come on now. But speaking of politicians that'll do anything for a vote, Mitch McConnell stepping down from Senate leadership, and so I guess he finna get out of the way. I mean, old Mitch.
Yeah, that's what he's gonna say. At the age of 82, he decided, hey, he's gonna go ahead and step down. Well, he's stepping down as the Senate Republican leader, but he ain't stepping down from working.
Nah, he look, listen, you know, he gonna wait till 2027 at the end of his term to retire.
Right.
Yeah, he'll be 85 or 86 years old.
Wow.
Now let me say this: that's a damn shame
It's
that
a
you can be
shame.
so greedy of power that your enjoyment of your golden years is making laws.
Yeah. And he's had some times, I think on 2 occasions that I know of, where he froze up,
Oh,
when he was
he was
doing
looking like he was shitting himself.
right. Well, he looked like he was having a stroke or something. On one of them occasions. Excuse me.
Look, hey, look, I'm gonna
Yeah.
be honest with you. I've been on the porcelain throne before on my phone, FaceTiming people, and I've had that face before. No. Let me stop making fun because it's not funny, but Mitch McConnell, it's a blessing that for him to even to be still here at 82 years old in a job like that. But that man did a lot of things in politics. It was for the betterment of somebody. But on the face of looking at a lot of the things that he did, he blocked President Obama nominee for the Supreme Court. Was it Garland, I believe?
Yeah, I'm not familiar with who he blocked on that.
Yeah. President Trump, not Trump. President Obama was trying to get, I think, Mayor Garland voted in as Supreme Court. Voted into the Supreme Court. Mayor Garland was a Democrat. Mitch McConnell, by him being the Senate leader, he blocked it to clear the way for Trump nominees when Trump came in office.
Okay.
A lot of people didn't like that. I know the Supreme Court is not an immediate effect on us. I know that's like a long-term effect. By the time we feel some of what Mitch McConnell did, he may be gone by then, But he has did a lot of things where he's held up policy for reasons to just play dirty politics, But I'm pretty sure he had his reasons for his agenda. But to us, it's just like, man, you're holding up a lot, just for your own personal reasons, whether it be money because of certain special interests that he may have in certain businesses, and certain laws are being passed to benefit them, whether it's going to boost up a certain stock or whatever, so it's good that he's stepping down, but it's sad that he stayed too long.
Yeah, and I think that I believe I think that they should really just change or make it a law that says that you can only serve in a political position of power up until the age of 65. At 65, you have to retire. You can't be an airline pilot, a commercial airline. I think it's just a pilot in general. You can't be a pilot past 65 years old. There are a lot of jobs and positions that, hey, 65, that is the age limit. You have to retire. How many people you see boxing or in sports, past
Right.
a certain age, when they get past their prime, it's time to retire. And I think they should do that for politicians, and let them serve on it and serve on an advisory board or something to advise some younger people that's coming in. But I think they should make it a federal law that at the age of 65, it's time to retire.
But you know what? It would be hard for them to be advisors for the simple reason is it's something about holding that seat that can get you to a point to where you're not listening to your advisors. And I think that's the reason why they don't want to just be advisors, because once you hold that seat, you can advise me all you want. But when it's showtime, I do what I want. And that's going right. And when you got that kind of power and you have special interests that you're not telling anybody about because you don't want to get caught up in no kind of legal situation for you passing laws for certain reason, whether it be for monetary reasons or whatever, that would eat somebody like Mitch McConnell up.
Yeah.
For somebody, who, I mean, that's just like driving from the passenger seat for Mitch McConnell. He been in power for so long. Then he said he's stepping down for the next generation to step up. Man, you should have been gone 2 generations ago.
It should have been gone. Yeah.
Right. We probably missed out on some good politicians that could have held that seat because of your greed. Brett Favre doomed Green Bay Packers like that. They had to run him off like that because he didn't want to move out the way for Aaron Rodgers to come up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, yeah,
How old was Brett Favre?
Shoot, man, Brett Favre. Hold on, let me look it up. Tell me when he left Green Bay.
Yeah, when he left or when he retired. He didn't retire from, because I don't really follow the sports like that. He didn't retire from Green Bay.
No, he didn't retire from Green Bay. He left Green Bay and they sent him to the Jets, and then he left there and went to Minnesota Vikings, and then he retired when he was with Minnesota Vikings, but I think they let him come back to Green Bay to retire. I could be wrong, but I think they let him come back to Green Bay to retire because he had put in so much work at Green Bay. He pretty much built Green Bay up to have the name that they did have. He was 41 years old when he retired in 2010.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah. That's pretty old for a quarterback, taking the hits that he took.
Yeah. Okay. So how old was you said that was Brett Favre, right?
Yeah.
So how old was Tom Brady when he retired? When he around the same age?
No, Tom Brady was 44.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He was 44 years old. Looked like Brett Favre. Looked like he left. He got traded to the Jets in 2008 from Green Bay. So he was 39 years old. But now Brady, that's one of the reasons why he going down in history as one of the greatest quarterbacks. He's the first quarterback that did it that long at that level. Hell, Brett Favre got to the point that man was so shook up. I remember one game that man had ran about 5 yards past the line of scrimmage and still passed the ball down the field. And he knew that was a penalty. He was shook up on taking them hits.
Right.
Yeah. He got about 5 yards past that line of scrimmage trying to scramble, and them big boys were coming at him, and he pinged that thing down the field. That's when I knew then. I said, it's over with for Brett.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over with for Brett. Because it reminded me so much of I don't think what was the name of that movie Jamie Foxx was in when he was a football player.
Friday Night Lights or something. Is
no,
that it?
No, one Friday Night
No.
Lights.
Somebody with him and LL Cool J.
Yeah.
I thought that was Friday Night. Oh, that must be Will Ferrell. I forgot what the name of that movie is. It was something with Friday in it, I thought.
Any Given Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah. Dennis Quaid was playing what's this? He was playing like the quarterback. He was the quarterback that had built that team, that they had built that team around for like years, and he was aging, and Jamie Foxx came in as a backup quarterback to him. And they called Dennis Quaid Cap. And Cap had took so many hits through the years. I mean, he, like every time the ball snapped, it was like his life was flashing, in front of his eyes. He was still trying to be productive, but he didn't have that nerve of steel anymore to stay in that pocket like he used to. Them days were gone. He had took too many hits.
Yeah.
And so that reminds me of Brady Favre. But it's still the same analogy to politicians. At some point in time, you done took too many hits. You're not productive like you used to be. That's when it's time to go and get on out the way and let somebody else take over. What happened to Mitch McConnell, that freeze up that happened to him, that ain't the first time that happened to him. Right. That I'm willing to bet that has happened to him quite a few times in private. But greed of power.
Yeah, and they tried to cover it up as best as they could, but hey, those few times that we saw, they had slipped up.
Yeah.
And we got a chance to see, what he probably have been dealing with for the past 10 years, possibly.
Right. And what if that is related to a mental issue, Alzheimer's, some kind of deterioration going on in that, Alzheimer's, and what's the other one? Dementia. Right. You mean to tell me you got these issues and you making laws for us? That's something to think about.
It is. And see, I thought, until I did some research on it, I thought that there were other positions outside of Supreme Court justices that had positions for life. I thought like some of those senators had, their positions for life. So he had to keep getting elected in. And I was trying to figure out who kept electing him, because he was a senator of the state of Kentucky. And so that would mean that the citizens kept electing him or voting for him, I think they served 6 years or so. That's the time that they have. It's like 6 years of a term.
Man, don't tell how many elections these politicians stealing. You know what I'm saying? Special politician like Mitch McConnell, being from a state like Kentucky. I mean, hell, hey, you remember that scandal with Bob Dole and who was it? Bob Dole and George W. Bush, when they said they leaved out of here with suitcases full of votes.
Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, what I'm saying? To me, it's just hard to believe that there's no new upcoming candidate that can represent a seat like that. But one thing I can say, guys like Mitch McConnell and Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz, they do put on for their state. They gonna put on for their supporters, whatever they think their supporters want. They are gonna put it down. And they don't care how crazy they sound. They don't care how much ass it look like they're kissing. They have no integrity, to me now. No integrity, no morals, because we talk about Ted Cruz. Donald Trump talked bad about the man's wife. And he did the same thing to Mitch McConnell. He talked bad about the man's wife. Now, politician or not, you can't talk to me once you make an insult like that. Not moving around with the demeanor like Donald Trump. And I guess that's why I like Donald Trump, because at the same time, Washington needed that. Our leaders had got too complacent, got too comfortable, got too secretive.
Yeah.
And you had old Trump come up there and just blew the roof off of a lot of that.
Exposed all of it.
Right. So I learned more about politics and government the 4 years Trump served than I did in school. And that's because of the way that I was looking at it. See, I didn't get caught up in just looking at Trump. I was looking at the reaction to Trump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what I got caught up in.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of people were looking at that because a lot of people were very highly entertained during that election.
I was one of them. I was one of them.
Yeah, because you tripped me out how you came up with names for everybody.
Oh man, look, my favorite one was Nervous Nancy.
Nervous Nancy.
Yeah, Nervous Nancy. I like that.
He tripped me out when he would say Little Marco.
Right. Right. yeah, Little Marco. But see, when he had called Nervous Nancy. Well, I'm sorry, Nancy Pelosi. I ain't mean it, but when he called it, when Trump called Nancy Pelosi, and I quote, Nervous Nancy, he was so damn mad.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when her, Trump, and Chuck Schumer got to arguing in the Oval Office on the news.
Oh, okay, I think I remember that.
Right.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So he was real upset about that because he was like Nervous Nancy. He was really upset. So, but I keep calling Nervous Nancy. I like the name too much. But Nancy Pelosi, she did stand up to him. She wasn't going for that, for what she felt like was bullshit. He was talking, which in that case, his delivery was kind of messed up because he was on some other shit with them folks on that day. It's been a battle, and he wasn't just wrong on his side. It had been going on ever since the beginning because even though Trump is looked at as a billionaire, to those politicians, they view Trump the way I feel like they look at us, like just regular average Americans. You don't supposed to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like how he just broke down those barriers in a way that he approached it. Hell, I wish Obama had the same approach.
Yeah.
I swear I wish President Obama had the same approach. I feel like President Obama was just too careful with a lot of this stuff because like the health care that he was trying to pass, I think that could have been really good if the House and the Senate and the Democrats and the Republicans alike all worked together.
Yeah.
Now we sitting around here, hell, much taxes as we pay, we shouldn't have to pay for no medical care.
No, we shouldn't. Should be like other countries that their health care is taken care of.
Right.
You're paying for it anyway.
That's right. So no, maybe it'll get better. But on to the next topic. Bring us in on this situation going on with the crude oil.
Yeah, over a lot of the oil tankers, the one that brings the oil tankers that pretty much bring the oil from one country to the next. Well, they are having a shortage of tankers, and they have a crisis going on because a lot of those tankers, because of the U.S. and the UK airstrikes, dealing with the Houthi, how
The
you say this? Houthi militants over in Yemen. Because of those airstrikes, well, it's causing them to bypass their normal routes, which is the Red Sea and the Suez Canal, because they don't want to be under attack. It's pretty much going through a war zone. And so a lot of those cruise vessels, well, not cruise vessels, those shipping vessels, they are going around the tip of Africa. And just going around the southern tip of Africa adds about 2 weeks to their shipping time. Now, with that being said, that's 2 weeks it's going to take for their customers or the ports that receive the goods to receive their product. Also, it adds to the shipping rates for those tankers because the price goes up. Now, they said one of the biggest things that's affecting that is the production or the delivery of brand new shipping tankers. They came out with an article, I think a few months ago, saying that they're trying to retire the old tankers and come in with more newer and more efficient tankers. And because they say they're just more fuel efficient. Well, I think that with them retiring the old ones, if you look at, they had a chart that I was looking at, and they're not making nowhere near the same amount of tankers that they were making a few years ago. I think for this year, they were only delivering about 2 oil tankers to oil fleets. And they said that they only have, I think it was about 4 or 5 that they have set to deliver for next year. And so
it's going to be like a significant drop, though, ain't it?
Correct. Compared to like the 2022 or 2023, when they delivered like 50 tankers, they were only delivered 2 this year. You know, so a lot of that is just me personally, I think that that's a way, with everything going on, it's going to be a way, a bargaining chip for them to be able to raise the price of fuel. It's going to allow them to raise the price of fuel and also raise their price for shipping costs, which they've already done that. They've already raised their shipping costs because they have to go out of route to make their deliveries. But it's also going to raise their prices of the ships, because if we can make less ships, then we can bring stress on that economy, on the global shipping economy. And that's what's going on right now. So yeah, I don't know. I don't, like they said, they only making about 4 ships for next year, and they only did 2 this year. So I don't know what's going to be the difference. But when you look at a chart that they've had of all the ships that they've built or they've delivered over the years, this year and next year is way below what they've done. And so to me, it just looks like they're just creating their own market.
So to bring it in more for the people who may be listening that probably don't understand what we're talking about, because I know I was reading the article trying to scan through it, and I was kind of lost on a few things. So the tankers that they're talking about is filled with product that we need, like gasoline, diesel, and crude oil, correct?
Correct.
So they're going to minimize the amount of ships that they have coming over, and that's basically what they're saying, right?
Correct.
And the ones they're going to replace them with is supposed to be more fuel efficient to, I guess, make the shipping costs cheaper.
Yeah, it's going to be more modernized. Basically, they said it just the cost of operation is going to be a whole lot cheaper with the newer ones compared to the older ones.
So what about the amount of product if they're downsizing? Are these going to be bigger ships to hold the same amount, or you didn't cover that part? Or
I didn't see that in terms of the size of the ships. I didn't see why they were reducing the amount of deliveries that they were making. outside of me just taking it upon just seeing it, it just appears like they're creating their own market. But I think it also has a lot to do with the war that's going on in those areas.
Right. Well, I know they say that there's going to be tight for a few years, so we're going to see probably a higher frequency of fluctuating fuel prices. And the frequency, most likely, the frequency is not going to be like when the prices drop. It's going to drop to like normal. What we see is normal. Like in diesel, when we first came out, diesel was like what, $2.60 a gallon at average.
Yeah, somewhere up around there, 265.
Right. And the average like what, around $4 plus.
It just got over $4 this month. The national average for diesel got over $4. Back over $4 rather.
Right, and it didn't stay under $4 very long, did it? Because it was like
not at
$4
all.
in December, right?
Correct.
Like I say, man, we just have to take the media and these CEOs who's pointing a lot of stuff out at their word. I mean, I'm not discredit, that it's a war over there. That's not what I'm saying. I mean, these are like big time people, supposedly. You don't have a plan A to Z. That's your plan. I mean, you improvising on the fly.
Right.
It's just crazy. I mean, well, people, let's just get ready for that. For possibly more hard times for the majority of us. We had to just start coming up with a bunch of different hustles to make ends meet. I know in our area here in the South, we got people already paying money out the wazoo just to have a roof over their head.
Right.
And you match that beside our cost of living. I mean, it just ain't gelling right.
Yeah. And a lot of people hurting along, like I said, along with the cost of living, rent going up ridiculously for people.
Right. And we hate to be a Debbie Downer, but we can't just ignore the fact that that this is what's happening. I mean, we just can't look over this stuff, guys. I mean, we gotta take this into account, because the next topic that we're talking about, that we're going to be discussing, is even more crazier than fuel prices.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's even more crazy than fuel prices, but that's Eugene's report on the fuel, possible fuel prices, whether they're going up and down. Basically what he just gave us, it looked like it's going to be going up a lot higher. You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we see $5.50 a gallon national average
for diesel
behind this. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Because in certain places it's already probably over $5. I have to check California, see what California and the West Coast is charging for diesel.
Well, hell, if the national average hit $5.50, hell, it's gonna be about right at $10 a gallon over there. I mean, just keeping it honest, but on to the final topic. We ain't gonna hold you long, but on to the final topic. Now, this is something that we really got to take serious. We got to talk about this. I don't know how everybody feel about vaccine. I could say I would raise my hand and I would say I didn't take the COVID vaccine. I have taken the flu shot, but I'm kind of paranoid about that too, because like I say, I don't know what they telling us, what they trying to do, but we got lawmakers in Nashville, Tennessee, they're trying to pass a bill to put vaccine in our lettuce and tomatoes, polio vaccine in our lettuce and tomato. We're gonna play this clip, and Eugene gonna bring us home with a little bit more understanding on who's behind this policy, if anyone's fighting against it. Is this something that's going to be able to be pushed? So I'm going to run this clip here, so that we could bring everybody in context on all this.
Okay.
Something a lot of us have never thought about: vaccines in the fruits and vegetables you get at the store. Some lawmakers say it could be a reality soon, and they're looking to create some new rules to keep Tennesseans safe. Tony Sloan's live from the state capitol to tell us more about this legislation. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Ben. Well, we want to make it clear that there are no vaccines in your lettuce or tomatoes when you go grocery shopping right now. But lawmakers say it may be a question of when, if not if. Now, Representative Scott Sapicki says researchers in California have perfected putting vaccines into certain foods. So he's crafted a bill to make sure that you know whether you're picking up a tomato with a vaccine in it or not. As an example. Now, basically, he says that this is a consumer protection bill that will make sure you know what you're buying. He says before this comes to Tennessee, there needs to be safety measures in place to protect you when you shop for yourself and your family.
If you're going in to buy tomatoes, and there's a polio vaccine in there, that you are aware of what you're buying has a polio vaccine. The problem you have is if it's not treated as a pharmaceutical, being the size and difference between you and me, how many tomatoes do I have to eat to get the proper dosage versus how many tomatoes that you have to eat? And if you eat too many, do you get a overdose?
So it's raising a lot of questions. Representative John Ray Clemens questioned whether having vaccines in fruits and vegetables is legal in Tennessee. And if not, is the legislation necessary? Sapicki says having something in place is better than not. The protection passed its latest House committee vote just last week. But of course, we'll let you know what happened.
Now, what I'm about to say, I may sound out of the loop, ill-informed. I may even be considered lame, but I gotta say it. That sounds like some crazy shit to me.
Yeah. They I've never heard of nothing like that, but them being able to because they said that the researchers in California had perfected, the method of putting vaccines in certain foods. So
are they putting it in there without telling people?
Well, I'm sure they would like to put it in there without telling you. That's why that state representative, Scott Sapicki, came up with that bill. He wants to come up with a bill that would, a consumer protection bill, basically, that would require in the state of Tennessee that whatever foods have those vaccines in them, that they have to be labeled on the packaging that there's a vaccine injected into their food. How would that go? I don't know, because from my understanding, if I'm not mistaken, don't we have food on the shelves that's been cloned and it's not labeled?
Yeah, that's been going on too. I mean, that right there was even messed up,
Right.
And we still consuming that shit, man.
Correct. Now we have food that has on the back that is genetically modified. Right. Or it's been genetically modified, so you would know, hey, what you're consuming. But I've never seen a label that said that it was fully or partially cloned meat or whatever, and but that's their hope to pass that bill in the state of Tennessee, that any products that have that vaccine in it, it has to have the consumer label on it saying what's in there, so every consumer can know what they're buying.
Man, that's some crazy shit to me, man. I mean, it was already crazy with the genetically modified stuff, but man, that's crazy, man. It's like, okay, this is the way I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it, of course, from a health reason. Okay, you already putting in MSG in food, like these snacks, fast food, and all that shit, which make people more addicted to fast food or shelf food like chips and candy bars. So you're already attacking that, and it's causing obesity. I believe that a lot of that stuff is causing cancer, because once it enters in your body, all that sugar and stuff crystallizes in your system, make it hard to for that stuff to run through your body properly like it should.
Yeah.
And now you want to mess with the vegetables. You know, the escape, you know, the power of healing. Why the hell you need to put a vaccine in produce when they already, if you stop fucking with the food, cloning shit, all the nutrients is there, all the healing power is there in the food itself. So for you to go around here, you know, with this man, they trying to play God. To me, that's the way I look at it. Maybe I hadn't read into the story enough, but on the face of it, it just sounds like some crazy shit to me. You shouldn't be. I mean, hell. I mean, you think about it. It's certain foods that they sell over here to us that they won't even allow in other countries.
Right.
Why is that? Because it's dangerous. Man, that's crazy.
And most foods that have the food coloring in it is you know, is banned in other countries. Right. You know, a lot of those foods that have, I think the MSG is banned. And genetically modified foods are banned in other countries. Yeah.
Exactly. That's just some crazy shit, man. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, it is.
Well, it's not much more I have to say on that topic other than that's just some crazy shit. Shit like that leaves me speechless, man. I mean, you know, we just got to stand up, man. You know, individually, we got to stand up to be united together. You know, I mean, there is no unity till we all stand up at the same time against a lot of this stuff going on. Whether you trying to make us or you try to veer certain politicians our way to make us vote in a certain way, whether you want to bring people from foreign countries and give them resources that we pay for through paying our taxes and Social Security and Medicare, and you fucking with the food. I mean, you got shit going on over there, a war going on, blocking a route that's causing shipping costs to go up, which is going to cause prices to go up for us. I mean, come on, man. Look, why not Trump? Can he do any worse?
Right.
That's the way I look at it. So, you know, man, unless you got something else on it, man, I you know.
Nah, I'm done, man. I think we had a pretty good segment on some of the things we tried to give some insight and our opinions on.
Yeah, so we done sat here and we'll talk to you guys for an hour and a half, man. We hope that you like the show. Make sure you come back for more now. You know, we're gonna try to schedule every week to release long form content like this by Friday. We hadn't came up with an exact time yet, but we're trying to at least have it out there by Friday. And like I said, we hope you enjoy. Again, I'm Priest. My co-host, my man with all the facts is Eugene. We the guys in the Truckers Lounge, and we're looking forward to you coming in, sitting with us, and having a discussion in the Truckers Lounge. Till next time, stay safe. We love you. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, or download on anywhere you're listening to your favorite podcast. Peace out, people.
Right.